Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. We're going to dive into Zebra again today. So I'm going to record a little video for you guys on how to sequence inside of Zebra. Now I did see a bunch of complaints about Zebra not having or Zebra 3 not having a arpeggiator or sequencer built into it. I got to say, I do miss the arpeggiator. Particularly, there are some patches that I did for the library that were intended to be arpeggiated, but most controllers these days do have an arpeggiator on them, along with the DAWs that you're using. But that said, there are a number of pretty cool ideas that you can get out with Zebra 3 using some unique features in the envelopes. They allow you to do sequences, and pretty detailed ones at that. They're kind of a roundabout way, but it's actually something that I like about the way that Yuhi does stuff sometimes. They kind of take a lot of inspiration from their work with modular and Eurorack stuff as well. Even Hive, the Hive has got a couple of sequencing functions which are not like the typical things that you'd normally get in every other VST plugin or synth plugin. But they do kind of stretch your imagination a little bit into interesting places. So we're going to take a look at how you can do a bunch of things inside of Zebra 3 in the same kind of vein that will give you nice sequenced patches. Let's dive in and take a look. So I do think that the arpeggiator is something that will be coming eventually. But for now, the best way that you can do sequences inside of Zebra 3 is to use envelopes. And you can do that by retriggering them with any sort of trigger source. So to give you just a really basic idea of how that works, if we look at the envelope that we have here, and we've got an initialized patch now, we can make something sort of percussive like that. And we're just using the regular envelope one, which is running you can see down at the bottom, envelope one is actually the volume for this lane. You can have this set to whatever you want. You're not locked into envelope one always being the volume. You can also, let's say for instance, go and use one of the MSEGs if you'd like. And there you go, now you've got that, and we can come and edit this as well. So if you want to be really precise with the MSEGs, so you can do that, and that is the volume 2. Now, whilst I'm on the MSEGs as well, obviously one of the ways that you could sequence this as well is by actually drawing in kind of like what you used to do with the Serum 1. I know Serum 2 has got an arpeggiator and a sequencer now. That's going to give you some sort of gate, and this can obviously be looped as well. And now that gives you the opportunity to do things as well, like adjust the loop rates. Which will be interesting too. But let's go back to our envelope 1 again. We can set a trigger source here. So for instance, we could use the MSEG that we've just done now, which has these saw teeth built into it. And we could trigger envelope 1 from the MSEG 1 if we wanted to. Now we're getting the same thing. We could also trigger that from, say, for something like a LFO, for example. And now we've got a gate signal coming from the LFO. And anytime that you want to see visually what's happening with some of these as well, you can flick over to this visualizer here. That's going to be your audio coming in there, but you can also take a look at stuff like the LFO, for instance. So currently we're in 1/4. We can go to 16th notes if we want. And there you go. Now you've got a base for a sequence. You've got the gate patterns coming in there. You could play around with things like your maths modules as well, and combine stuff together. We'll trigger this from the math 1, for example. And we can have the inputs then coming from our LFO 1. But now you could play around with stuff here. So let's say trigger chance, for example. We've got the trigger should be coming from, let's just see what's going on here. There we go. So now we've got the probability set at around 50%, and we're using the LFO1 still to bring the gate signal in, but we are then assigning a probability to it. So we're only getting 50% of those notes. So you can get some sort of randomness happening there now. So what about pitches and things like that? Well, that's pretty simple to do too. There's a number of different ways that we can do that. And let's start off with, we could look at stuff in the pitches module here as well. And now this does have options for sort of chord structures and things like that. You can quantize via this, but I find that it's actually easier to do it another method, because this is not always relative to the key that you're playing. This is sort of hard-coded into a scale that will be always applied to anything using that pitch. I kind of want this to be relative to the key that I'm playing. So what we'll do instead is use something like the mapper, for example. And let's take a pitch source over here. Well, not that pitch source. We're going to actually assign the tuning, and we don't want to do it via this one, because if you assign it directly there, you get a high resolution modulation source, but you lose access to some of the features that I want to use, which is the quantization of the mod source that you're using. So in this case, what I want to do is I want to bring the mapper in and just assign it to the to the tuning of this one. And let's say we'll bring the steps down. We'll work with something less for now. We'll do something kind of, let's stick with 12, that's fine. Increment mode per key, it's going to keep playing that like so. But the problem with that is we give it one gate signal from the keyboard now. It doesn't know that the envelope is retriggering. So what we need to do is we need to have this modulate from a LFO 1 as well. And you can see that is now, it's going to pause on notes as well, where there's no probability. Okay, so now we can assign that to our pitch, obviously, that we've got over there, the tuning, so we can bring that up. And let's just go over to the matrix page here. Okay, so that's kind of all over the show. We want to kind of tweak that so that it's a little bit more, makes sense melodically, and it's in key. So what we'll do is we'll use the quantize that we have down here, and we can step that to 12. So either that's per octave, we can have it by fifths, or we could do integers as well, which would kind of give you, just make sure that there's no kind of in-between tuning. But that's still not really in key. So let's go with something like a minor scale, for example, and take a listen to that instead. And I'm actually going to set this to, let's just check on the map here we have down at the bottom here. We'll set this to rather function as, if you right click on it here, you can set this to unipolar instead. Hard snap on as well. And we can adjust the subdivisions that we want. So if we want a little bit more granularity there, so we'll set that to 12. And so let's also adjust the amount that we're going by the tuning. So 12 notes would be, it's a little bit more contained now. There you go. Now we've got some sort of sequence happening there. And like I said, this is going to be relative to the note that you're playing. So the bass note is going to be whatever I hold down on the keyboard. There you go. So we can continue with this now. And let's bring in an additional module here. Now let's go with a filter, for example. And we'll just keep this fairly simple, this patch, just to kind of show you. And we want to get an envelope in here for this one as well. So let's go with an envelope 2. And you see that's not doing anything now because it's only playing on the first note. We need to trigger that as well, so we can again use the same thing like the Maths 1 module here. we could reuse some of these things as well to kind of create more and more interesting movement here. Let's maybe use this to play with our filter slightly. Let's go to the matrix page here and just... And of course these still apply the modifiers for this, so we can do stuff like the overshoot. So if we wanted to add in even a little bit more variety to the feeling of the sequence now, we could use overshoot as sort of like an accent here. And let's maybe just assign, again, like the random is going to be a problem here, because the random requires you to have a gate signal to trigger it. But we're only getting one gate signal, so we need something to trigger over and over again. So a better option here is to use something like noise, for example. And we could use the noise on the overshoot, and let's do it on both of these. We'll do overshoot in that too. We'll use noise there. But it's not going to give us the effect that we want right off the bat. What we need to do is we need to then sample and hold that noise signal based on the map or the maths module that we're using to get the envelopes to trigger. So that mod noise there, we're going to just set those to sample and hold, and we'll choose math 1 and math 1 as the gate source for those. Some of those notes now are going to have a little bit of an overshoot to them. Let's bring in another one now, and we can actually have a sub-oscillator that doesn't track with a pitch. Which is interesting to have as well. Bring in a third oscillator. We're not going to have that one actually playing. What we'll do is we'll run that third oscillator into the filter. So let's bring that in B lane 2. And this one we're going to just adjust oscillator 3 here. We'll move it down a little bit just so we can make sense of this a bit better. Oscillator 3, we're going to set this to a sine wave. We'll just use the default waves for this. And we can disable that from the audio output there. We'll come back to this. And we could use that oscillator now as an FM source for the filter. And if we wanted to change that FM there for that, we could actually use the pitch that we're using for the other ones to adjust the tuning on that. Let's go up 36 or something. Just a little hint of that FM. Just add a bit of a compressor to this. And then to set up the sends, we could do a delay on this one as well. We'll actually bring the delay in as a send. And what we'll do with the delay is we'll go with my usual settings here. I like to do sort of 75% and 50% on this. there you go. I said I'll keep it simple for this one. It's not too complex. You can start throwing in all sorts of other things as well, like the MSEGs give you some really, really interesting options when it comes to sequencing stuff. I have looked at this one before. It's one of my patches that I did, which does a lot of blending between the MSEGs as well, which can actually change these sequences via the mod wheel as well. So something like this plasma cutter preset. So most of the actual sequencing that's happening here is just coming from the MSEGs themselves. And the interesting thing with this is because the MSEGs work just like the oscillators do, they're essentially splines that can be morphed between different shapes. You can actually lock them into a sequence but morph between different sequences, so you get effects like this. There you go. Yeah, so when you start playing around with all these different tools that you have, combine those with math modules, you've got an extremely, extremely powerful set of sequencing tools, even without having a traditional sequencer and arpeggiator in the synth itself. Cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll catch you soon. Till then, take care. See ya.